Look, I have my first journal. I'm so excited. I have been working on this prompt for at least the past 5 years. I have this setup of the three things that are important to me, not your to-do list, but what really matters. Something that you're grateful for, something that you're proud of, something that you dream of, and something that you pray for. Something that you're proud of. Yes. And then I was seeking for outside validation, and this prompts help me see my self-worth and bring the attention back to me from what I was seeking elsewhere. I love having a physical journal, and I hope this will help somebody else no matter their journey in their life. You can find this journal at lifewithfrancy.com/shop. Link will be in the description of this episode. Hello and welcome to Life with Francy podcast, a place where you will find all kinds of conversation like mental health, self-love, self-care, trauma, hobbies, and more. With this podcast, I want to create a community where we support one another in business and personal life. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Now, let's get the show started. This conversation was thanks to Podmatch, an amazing community for podcast hosts and podcast guests to share the expertise. And they have tools and resources. It's really a great community. But on today's episode, I have the pleasure to talk to Lynita, who is an intuitive business coach who leads her clients to live life on fire for the ultimate success life with peace, joy, and fulfillment. I love that. Welcome to the show. Tell us, what is life with you?
Thank you so much for having me. Life for me is happy. I'm going to tell you, because I get to come on awesome shows like yours. How about that?
I love that. I love your energy already. We had like a 5-second conversation before the episode started. So I love that. Tell us a little bit about your story.
Absolutely. So I have had a beautiful life. Great parents, great community, wonderful support system, and I thrived. Truly was living my dreams. I have accomplished just about anything I put my mind to. I'm an attorney, a CPA, a best-selling author of 5 books, and I have accolades down my arms. But nobody tells you what happens when your dreams turn into nightmares. And
Oh.
that is what happened with me, because I believed that for me to be accepted, for me to be loved at the end of the day, that I needed to continue to excel. And so even after my body started to break down and I got ill, I did not stop. I was working sometimes days at a time without rest. And I was trying to be everything to everybody because I could not handle disappointing someone. And it was not until my daughter found me passed out in the middle of the floor from exhaustion, and she was only 6, that I knew something had to change. She literally put her blanket on me and put her pillow under my head and kissed me on the forehead goodnight. And the only thing I had strength to do was to say goodnight, baby. I couldn't get up to put my child to bed. And I would love to tell you that it was that moment that I just changed everything,
Mhm.
but that would not be true. And we started off so well, and I wanted to continue in that, right?
Tell us, girl.
Yes. So I knew something needed to change. I just didn't know what, and I didn't know how. And so I did like most of us do. I went back to what I knew, which was that. And so even when my hair was breaking off, I just put on wigs. When my nails split, I just wore acrylics. And when my skin started to deteriorate, I just put on a gang of makeup. And I looked glamorous. I put a smile on my face and I showed up like everything was okay. And then finally, I could not be okay because I was bleeding like a lot. I was bleeding through the pins a lot. And
Wow.
I went to the doctor And from doctor to doctor, they finally were able to diagnose me with stage 4 endometriosis. And it's ranked just like cancer. So, yes, stage 4 is the most serious.
Wow.
And it was horrible. The medications, the doctor's appointments, the surgeries. And the last one, they gave me this release that basically was like, we don't know what's going to happen after this. And that's when it hit me that I would have to get help. And I promised God, I was like, if you bring me out of this, I will not go back to this. I will have to find another way to define my self worth. And so that's what happened. And I had plenty of time to do it because my recovery was long and it was brutal. And I got help. I started working with a performance coach, Rowena Silvera Beck. And she had me write down everything that I was involved in, every organization I was leading, any jobs that I was doing, clients, my roles as wife, mom, daughter. And it was 7 pages, single space.
Wow.
And she said, you got to get this down to 2. And so I did. And then I started working with Jill Flowers, who has helped me to maintain this life. Because one of the things that nobody talks to you about any recovery program, and I have to put this in here so y'all understand, I am an ordained minister. And so I have worked with people who have addictions. And I had to study and learn the 12-step process if I was going to be an effective person for them, right?
Mm.
And so one of the things that they do in any of these recovery programs is they have people who walk with you so that you don't go backwards. And so that's what Jill Flowers has been for me, my coach. And that is how I developed this program, Live Life on Fire, because all of the things that I was involved in were really positive, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they were community based, they helped women and children. Like I mentioned, I'm a pastor. So this is not like it was things that you just knew intuitively, like, girl, why were you involved in that's not what it was. But number one, it was too much. And number two, all of it was not consistent with what my life purpose was, not anymore. And so I had to release the things that no longer served me. And I was no longer serving it because I was unwell. And then people started asking me, like, what are you doing? Because they noticed the change in me. And I started to heal. My hair was growing back. I was not wearing all of the nail stuff anymore. And I wasn't wearing all of the makeup. And I just looked lighter. And
Mm.
I shared with them my process. And people were like, I need to do that. And I realized that there were so many people out here who are living this life of what they perceive to be success because they have been given a list from somebody that says if you work hard and you get a job and you get a family and you make money, you are going to be happy. But I did all of those things and the happiness was not sustainable. And the reason is because I was trying to define my life and my self-worth according to somebody else's definitions and rules. And that's never going to work. I would have to create my own. And so mine became a life full of peace, joy, and fulfillment. That's not to say I don't do anything else because I'm here with you on this show, which I'm loving. I have my books and I'm speaking and coaching myself, which I love. I still have my
Mm-hmm.
law practice, right? And I enjoy having a roof over my head. So, of course, I do make money, but those things don't define me. And I now live a joyful and peaceful life, not striving to live a happy life.
Oh my gosh, I freaking love all of it. And I want to know your process because I'm on my second year of loving myself. And then
Yes.
last year, I was like, I'm so brave. My word of the year is gonna be peace. And
Yes.
January 4th, I had a panic attack. So that's how
Oh
you start
no.
your year of peace, you know? I mean, exactly what to expect. So, but now but I planted the seed. So
Yes.
last year was like when I was like really seeking peace.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
brand new to this journey. As of this year, I think I got it. I mean, there's some off days. But tell us how did you do that? Because that's a lot, girl. You have been through a lot.
Oh, I have been, but you know what? I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Mhm.
And the piece that I have now, I can replicate that and I can get back to it. The first thing that I had to do is I had to learn how to be still and silent, which is hard because we're always taught to be ready with a response, right? So that means that we're always thinking about what we're about to say. We're thinking as we're talking, and even when we have closed our mouths, our brain is still doing this. And so I had to embrace what it means to like say nothing,
Mm,
to give my communication center of my brain a chance to rest and to rejuvenate and recover. And I noticed that it really stimulated my creativity and it allowed me to look beyond the things that I had been told would bring me such life satisfaction and to do some different things. I mean, I do love being an attorney and I love practicing, right? But then I was able to even explore what it would mean to be an author, to help other people publish, what it would mean to be a speaker and help people to develop their own keynotes. Those are things that did not come until I embraced silence.
mm,
The second thing I had to learn was to embrace just being, which is related to silence. We're all taught to always plan for tomorrow. There's always the next. But I learned the hard way that if right now is not taken care of, next can't come. Not won't come, it can't. Because if you're too ill to enjoy what tomorrow will bring, then it means nothing. And so I've learned the value of going for a walk, of appreciating a leaf on the ground, of enjoying my own company. And sometimes it's watching TV and reading books, but sometimes it's just sitting there quietly in front of my prayer altar and just chilling. Sometimes I'm not praying. Sometimes I'm just sitting there and just and appreciating my own presence. And so when we're talking about self-love, that has to come because you're going to go out into the world and you're looking for somebody else to make you happy, to complete you. But as soon as they do something that disappoints you or they fall short in some way that they might not even be aware of, then you're off to the next person. But the truth is, you have to deal with you first to
mhm,
even be able to establish the baseline of what you want out of somebody else, less known out of a relationship. And that relationship can be anything. It can be romantic, it can be a friendship, it can be a business partnership. But you have to be solid and right first. And I had to get there, you know? The next thing that I had to do was to learn to breathe. And I know that sounds weird.
no, it is. I have friends that call me just to remind them to breathe. It's really hard to remember to breathe sometimes.
Yes. I mean, we're all running around here taking these shallow breaths and puffing. Like literally, I had my speech coach, Star Barbara Toon, said, "Oh my gosh, you're so peaceful now. You know, when we first started working together, you'd be like," and I was like, that is so real. She's right. But now I like do deep belly breathing when I am anxious, and I'm sharing this with y'all. Yes, y'all take that deep breath in and out. And you keep breathing through that anxiety, through that nervousness, through when you feel like you've made a fool of yourself, whatever it is, breathe. There is so much power. Life is truly in the breath. And then last, which I absolutely love, is I learned to live in flow, my flow. And so I was no longer looking for somebody else to tell me what would be successful for me. And the way that I did that is I stopped trying to live a perfect life. If you look in the dictionary, perfect literally means meeting standard. But who set that standard? You didn't. Somebody else set a standard for you, and you have been trying to reach that your whole life. But what if you stopped trying to be perfect and you just went for excellence? Excellence meaning that you
Mm.
set your own standard.
Mm.
What if you set your own standards? And what if you said that what is excellent today might not be excellent tomorrow? What if you gave yourself that grace to know that it's a sliding scale, but you know that you're constantly improving? Because I can honestly say what was excellent when I was in my 20s is not what it
Mhm.
is now in my 40s, and it won't be in my 60s. And that is the way it's supposed to be.
Mm, I
I'm,
like that difference
yeah.
because I was like, okay, hold up, I'm confused. Not perfect, excellent. How do I do this? But
Mhm.
now I see it, how, as you explaining it, not to promote, but how I do in the ad, because it's like the three things that are important to me, not the to-do list. So
Mhm.
you're saying the same thing. It's not what is important to society. It's like what is important to you.
Yes.
Love that. It's so
Yes.
hard though. I'm working on it. I'm working progress on that one.
You know what? And that's honest. And that's why I shared at the top that I have people that I work with to help me to stay on this path. They're my support system. So of course I have my family and my friends, but there is something about getting somebody external to your warm circle to help you. And I would love to say that it was easy, but it is not. But it's not supposed to be. These are opportunities for expansion and growth of the heart, of the soul. And that happens during challenge. It happens during challenge.
Oh my goodness. So, how are you sharing all this wisdom with your clients? How did that come about?
So I have not done any advertising for my coaching services. I have been very blessed to have people who have seen my journey and who have come and questioned. And it's so interesting to me how God works in making things like flow in and out, because I'll go and I'm on a business panel and I'm talking about being a lawyer, and somebody come to me asking me about my books or my speaking or the coaching, right? Or the exact opposite. I'm talking about my book and the coaching, and someone will come over and talk about, hey, I need a lawyer. So the way that it has happened for me has been organic. This push to now be out in front and talk more transparently about my story, that really just happened this summer, because I would talk about it during my keynote, but I would have a keynote maybe once a quarter. But now I am actively pursuing opportunities to be on platforms to share this message. And I cannot thank you enough for having me today, because more people really need to understand they got to get off this hamster wheel. Somebody
Mhm.
else dropped them in that little pen and then told them this is all you have. And I promise you that you are so much more than that. Get out of the pen. The door is open. There's a whole world for you to explore, but you have to set your own standards of what a successful, meaningful life means to you. And it can't be stuff, because the cars, the house, the clothes, that can be given, but it can be taken away. I
Ah.
know because it has happened to me. There has to be something external to that.
You just hurt my heart because, like, this is recorded in September, but it's going to be published in January. But
Yeah.
just in case, because some of the conversations, I'm like, oh my gosh, people are going to be like, what's happening? But, anyways, right now in September, I am dealing with getting rid of my car. And it's like, it's
Oh,
something that I work so hard for and that I have so much meaning into it. But at the end of the day, I have other goals, because that goal was for past Francie. 10 years
mhm,
ago when I barely had the car to take me from point A to point B. I had to depend on people because I had needed mechanic service and things
yeah,
like that. So that's why I worked so hard to have my Subaru 2020. And I think it's going to be gone soon because now I have other goals. And to get to the next level, I can't keep making those payments.
right,
It's all about where's my money going. I didn't
yes,
mind my money going over there because it was like a savings for me too, because I was working on my credit and all that thing, and I'm going on a rant. But just to say, like, yes, get rid of like the material things and things that are not going to get you to the next level, because there's so much more. And you're reminding me as well of my friend and me at work, because she's all that peace, joy, standards, boundaries, all of it. Me, the total opposite. So, because you work on a corporation, you're with a group of people, everybody's acting the same, so you're supposed to act the same, follow how the mood is going. And she's like, she shakes us up like, oh, you're not gonna bring all that bad energy around me. When
yeah.
you're around me, you have to be joyful for the miserable energy that is happening around us anyways. So I can see it, because of the standards, what is important to you, and work through that. Sorry, I went into two different rants and I lost my point, but I just see it because I see the difference. I'm trying to get there.
Yeah,
Whereas peace, joy, and happiness, which I was looking for happiness for so long, and I was in that hamster wheel. Like I could not get out of it. And it wasn't until I started seeking for peace and joy that I am more stable. Like I can't wait to go and do another mental health evaluation
yeah.
because I don't feel that I have the seven diagnosis that I had almost 2 years ago, you know?
I do know. And you know that you said a real mouthful. I'll take them in order. So when you were talking about the release of things, um, Dr. Larry Reed, who is the pastor of Reformation Church here in Atlanta, he is a huge online influencer, but like he has that entertainment part, but then he has the ministry part, which is where I hook in. And he preached a sermon, had a prayer call actually. I would say maybe about 2 or 3 weeks ago, where he was talking about releasing things that are no longer consistent with where you are right now. And that's exactly what you're saying. Because and this part is from me, the release of that opens you up for something else. If you're holding something in your hand, you can't receive anything. And so the moment you open your hand and you release whatever it was that was there, now you are open for the next thing. And you're releasing that car, and now you can be open for the next thing. It is the manifestation of the shift in the mindset.
Mm,
And you should be very proud of yourself with that. Um, it is not surprising that you started off with some anxiety this year, because this is the year of the closing out stuff. But you know, when we clean, like getting in these corners and places that have not been exposed to light for a long time, there's stuff to get out of there. And that's what you're feeling, that anxiety, that's coming up, but it's coming out, it's leaving you. It is not going to be around you much longer. And I can tell you that it's such a blessing for you to be in a place where you realize that you need that mental health support. Go get it. But I want you to know how strong you are, how strong all your listeners are, to be able to speak those words. And I'm going to give you something that I do for myself when I get down and I get down on myself. I just had a situation yesterday. It's so small, but I'm going to tell you, it really took me down. I was at a party having a good time. I am not the best dancer. As a matter of fact, I'm really kind of afflicted, but I will sometimes like get lost in it and I'll just be out there just doing it. And when I got on home, I was just like, gosh, I look really foolish. And I felt so bad about it. And I didn't do what I know to do, which is my breathing, my meditations, and my gratitude statements. And I went to bed with that on my mind, and I woke up with it on my mind this morning. And it was not until I stated in terms of gratitude that those feelings went away. And so I start with something really small. I'm thankful to have been in the room with people where I felt comfortable enough to just be. I'm grateful to have been invited to the party. I'm grateful to have had transportation to get there. I'm grateful to have had money to put gas in my car for me to go. I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to even pick out an outfit because I have more clothes that I could select from. And on and on and on. And when we speak gratitude and thanksgiving, it creates a well within us that is not just sustainable, but infinite. And we can always go back into it whenever things come up because they do come up. That's part of life. I heard a young person say, life be lifing. I'm like, yes,
Oh
life
my
be
gosh,
lifing.
I've been hearing that more, and I'm like, yes, life be lifing.
Life be lifing. And so the way that I get through when life is lifing is through my gratitude affirmations. And so I would share that. I offer that to y'all. It has never failed me.
Mm-hmm.
Big or small, whatever it is. And it enables me to get up and fight another day.
Yeah, I love that. I got my gratitude journal. I mean, that has helped me as well. It's just you can't be angry and grateful at the same
Ooh,
time.
yeah,
It's
you
really
just preached up.
hard.
That is the truth.
Hard. You have to stop and be like, okay, well, if I'm grateful for this, well, then I can't be angry for that. But I talk to my emotions,
Yeah.
like I separate them. Like
Yes.
some of them are toddlers and some of them are teenagers,
Oh, I like that.
because you have to separate it. And it's like if you wouldn't let a toddler just go crazy, then why are you letting anger just take control over you?
Yes.
So, but I had to learn because it was a decade of a lot of anger, depression, anxiety, and I have a survival kit, I call them, which it sounds like that's yours, when you said, breathing and things like that, I could
Mm-hmm.
relate because my anxiety survival kit has breathing at the top. I have to stop and take some deep breath, calm my nervous system. If that doesn't work, then I have to walk it out or dance it out. And then if that doesn't work, I start calling people, start calling Jesus, depending on your religious beliefs. Like somebody needs to help me right now.
I like that. You just like get on that roller that's like somebody better pick up, okay? Yes.
But yeah, and then I tried that with depression, and it comes out that depression survival kit is different. I have
Yes.
to let my feelings be felt because sometimes
Yes.
I suppress them. And
Oh,
that is so
oh,
bad because
yes.
then it turns into anger. So then sometimes I feel afraid of feeling anger because I know sadness is behind it. And now I'm afraid that I'm going to fall into depression. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to look at it as to what it is. And I couldn't
Yes.
put a name on it till I did my mental health evaluation,
That's right.
because
That's right.
before it was just like I'm all over the place and this is just how my life is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
After the mental health evaluation, I was like, oh, hi depression, How are you doing today? Well, I know you're feeling sad, so let's go have some ice cream. Let's go have some chocolate and help you feel better. But I
Y-
couldn't say that
Yeah,
out loud before.
yeah. And I loved what you said about just letting your emotions come up and you honoring them, not letting them run amok and draw all over your walls. But I see you, I understand you, I feel you, but I can't let you take over because for me, I can speak for me. A lot of the health challenges that I have had during my life, I now understand were unconfronted emotions. A lot of anger,
Mhm.
a lot of sadness. And now, when I feel those things, even if I can't express it to the person who is behind it, I honor the fact that this is what I'm
Mhm.
feeling. I don't try to gaslight myself anymore.
If people knew, like, just validating your own feelings, that makes such a huge difference where
Yes.
you can have compassion and understanding for the other person, even as they're making you angry.
Yes.
You could be like, oh goodness. But no, I absolutely love that. Oh my gosh, girl, like I could talk to you forever.
Yes.
I love that. We haven't even talked about your coaching, your book. How did the book come about? Let's talk about the book first, because you touched a little bit about the coaching.
So to be fair, you've been an awesome host. That's how my book, Live Life on Fire, the ultimate guide to a successful life full of peace, joy, and fulfillment came to be. It's my story. And the way that I wrote it is I use examples from personal relationships, business relationships, to create the foundations for the lessons that we just talked about with breathing and silence and being and meditation and flow. They all live to you being able to live in awe. And awe is a place that allows you to tap into your intuitive intelligence. We all know about intellectual, so the book learning, emotional, spiritual. And I believe that they all come together to create an aggregate intelligence. So this is all. And then once you get to that place where you embrace every part of who you are, you know what you are, you know how you serve. Now you can tap into what I call the intuitive intelligence. This is the place beyond anything that you can see, right? This is the place that we talk about when we're talking about faith is believing in the unseen and us having the confidence to act on it. We all have experienced it when we are driving and a voice says turn left, even though the navigation is saying right, and we do, and we look in our rear view and there's an accident, construction, or something that would have changed our destiny that just happened, right? You can apply that to your life for the benefit of not just you, but the people that you serve. So, community, family, business. I know because I've done it and I do it every single day. I trust that feeling, I trust that voice. And those things come when you are able to live a life that is authentic to you, that is transparent, that is loyal. So, again, we're not gaslighting ourselves. We're loyal to what we feel, and it allows us to go forward and speak and act in our truth, which is love. At the end of the day, it all comes down to love. And I know that sounds kind of woo woo, particularly
Mhm.
coming
No.
from a
Yep.
lawyer. But I promise you, if we went to work and showed up every day knowing that every person that we interacted with at their core is love, and that so are we, and so we're just meeting a version of ourselves, how much better would our world be?
Mm,
How much better would we be to show up in that world?
yeah. I love that. I absolutely love that. And I love that this is like the first episode of the year for what are we on? 2024?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it'll be next year. And I love because it brings that energy. I want that kind of energy for my podcast. So thank you so much. Is there anything else that you would like my listeners to know about you?
I would love to connect with y'all. Come visit me on my website. It's my name, LynitaMitchell-Blackwell.com. Lynita spelled Lynita. And we can connect on social. You can join my email list, check out my blog. You know when I'm in your city. And let's just have a good time. Let's be friends.
I love that. I'll definitely stay in contact with you and check your book out because you changed my like the whole energy. I don't know if you could tell through the interview, but you helped me out with my energy.
I am so glad. And the book is on Audible. So if y'all are too busy to sit and flip, I get it. So just go on Amazon, grab your Audible and pop it and let's go. Let's do this.
There you go. I love it. I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you so much for coming on my show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Life with Francie podcast. I hope you enjoyed this conversation as much as I did. You can find my show in all major platforms as well as my YouTube channel. On the show notes, you will find the links for my guests as well as my information. So you know the drill. Go follow, like, subscribe, support. Depending on the app. And if you like to help the show, you can leave a review so others can find the show, to help others find the show. Thank you so much. Hope you have a blessed day. Bye bye.